Okay, morning folks. This is a very quick review because the game was quite brutal and ended very suddenly of a game I played this morning. It was my first game of the day while I was still having a cup of tea, and we're just going to run quickly through the game and see what went on. The reason I wanted to do the review is because there were some very good principles at work here for beginner players, just thinking about liberties, capturing races, how we fight, and so this will be a very quick 10-15 minute review. Okay, here we go. This was the game. It was played on PandaNet, and the opening was fairly straightforward. So I played top right, very normal for me. My opponent played knight move in the lower left, not a knight move, a 3-4, sorry, in the lower left hand corner. So I played 3-4 upper left corner with a view to setting up the high Chinese opening. My opponent played another 3-4 kokomu in the lower right, so I set up the Chinese opening, and so white made a position on the lower side, setting up the it's the mini Chinese, this one's known as, I believe. So I've been practicing a Joseki move against the 3-4 coming at it from the side, which is this move here. I've been looking at the Josekis around this, and so the expectation for me is that white would pincer and then black attaches, white hanes, black cuts, and then there are a number of Joseki moves. If white ataris here, black can descend here, and so on. But let's see what happened in the game. So we'll just go back to where we were. So I approached, and white wide pincered, which gave me again the opportunity for the attachment. White harned as I expected, and so black cut, so I cut. Now what's white going to do? Well, white comes out that way, protecting the lower side, even though the lower side is a little low, and the move that I wanted to play as black is to descend. So this descent into the corner gives the black stones here, the two white stones, it gives them reasonable number of fighting liberties. I've got 4 liberties here to fight with, and that's why this move is valuable. So white ataried this stone, but this was a mistake, and it was a mistake because this involves a ladder, and the ladder breaker, if we work it out, so if we look at the black moves here in that ladder, black, 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 black. I'm leaving out the white moves for obvious reason, just to keep this quick, all the way across this board, and it goes there, and then it touches the black stone. So that black stone up in the upper right is the perfect ladder breaker. So it was a mistake for white. So this is a mistake by my opponent to try and play a ladder. So I came out, obviously the ladder's good for me. White turned, looked like for a moment he was going to pursue the ladder, which would obviously have been a disaster for white. So I came out again because I know the ladder's good for me. I think white, realizing the mistake, starts to try and make some shape there. I atari once, white counter ataris, and so I take in order to get out of that atari, and also atari the stone there on C4. White descends, which I think was a mistake. At this point, white really needs to get the idea that the corner's lost, there isn't any more room here. I think the correct move for white would be to either come up here or atari outside here. So either come up would be one option, atari outside, and force black would then descend, and then white could make some kind of shape here, or possibly atari once here, because black won't want to be separate. Black comes out and white gets this, then black's in a mess. That's not going to happen. So after the white atari on the outside, black will probably take here, in which case white gets this move in for free because of the corner atari. So let's say black takes here, and then white can connect here. And so this is a reasonable exchange now. It's a reasonable exchange because black gets quite a big corner and white gets the outside influence. This stone here is a little bit close to the wall, but this stone's nicely positioned. So that's a reasonable exchange between the two players. in the event, white descended, which was another mistake. So we're counting liberties here. Let's just clear the blue away. So white stones have now got 3 liberties, and this black stone on the outside has only got 2, but black descends and has now got 3 liberties, and the 2 white stones on the inside have got 2. So the fight is uneven, so it looks like black's taking advantage and white's move was just a wasted move. So white Atara is on the outside. Again, black doesn't want to fight a ko here, because if black allowed white to take at this point here at d5, it would start a ko, but it's too early in the game for ko's. There's no ko fights, there's no ko threats on the board, nothing of any substantial size, so black connected. White Atara is on the outside, and so black's in Atari and must do something, either take the white stone, but taking the white stone would give, if black were indeed to take here, then white gets this move in for free. Doesn't actually get white anything, but black's shape is now so horrible that it leaves some agi around here for white on the outside. Okay, so after this move, black descended to gain liberties, so white's now got the 2 stones here sitting in Atari, and this sitting in Atari, so it's all over. The corner is now black's, and white has this dangerous cutting point here and here. So white protects the cutting point and black jumps out with the knight's move. At this point, I think the move for white would be either strengthen at the lower side like this, in which case you consider this is an almost fair result, or if white really likes the stone on the left hand side, then white can make a base for this stone. In the event white's move was just too greedy, white just kind of comes in, and what's black going to do? Well, it's fairly obvious, black will cut, and white then hasn't got a good move. White descends once and black takes, and then the 2 white stones are in direct danger of attack. If white doesn't play in that area, let's say white comes here, then black simply attaches here, and the 2 white stones die with 2 liberties, because the new 2 stone at b9 has got 3, the 2 stones on the outside have got 4, so white's going to die. So having placed that stone, and this is a very, very important principle for beginners, when you place a stone, you then have to go and fix and rescue, which is what happened. White then had to rescue its stone. Makes terrible shape. We know this is the empty triangle. If white really wants to get out there, then this is the shape move. It's again, for some of the beginners, we call this a 2-stone wall with a 1-space extension and a kosumi. It's a relatively good shape for white. Black, if it's now black's move after this, and black's got a couple of options. One is to take the base away this way, in which case white would jump out and threaten these 2 stones, and so the fight is on. Or if black protects these stones by jumping out here, then white can make a base here and probably live in that space quite well. And then if white lives on the left side as well as on the lower side, then the few points that black has got in the corner here don't actually come to much value. In the event white made this move, which is a bad move, black did jump out to protect the 2, because again, fundamental principles of Go, above all other, the main strategic principle of Go is keep your opponent's stones separated and keep your own stones connected. So I'm believing that these stones, because they've got friends, even though they're a long way away on the other side of the board, can maintain a connection. And I want to keep these stones, these ones here, cut away from these ones here. That's what I wanted to happen in the game. Okay, so white connected because black's threatening a cut there, and then black makes a shape. This shape, if some of you have downloaded from the site the book Shape Up, you'll see this shape known as the table shape. It's very strong, super strong shape, very difficult for white to attack that. It can squeeze it a little bit, but it's almost a single eye. It's a very powerful shape to learn and to make use of in your games. Okay, so white did do the jump after I made the table shape to make space on the left, and then black came out with a knight move because I wanted to exert some downward pressure in this direction against this white shape. If it was going to live there, I was determined that it was going to live small. So white comes in from the outside. Now white's got a weak group on the left hand side. The group on the stone on C15 and C11 and then the empty triangle below that are a relatively weak group. They're not yet alive, and so white's now created a second weak group by placing the F17 stone. So black attaches, white harness, black moves off and almost makes another table shape. If the C16 stone were here, this point here, then we'd have another table shape. White pushes once, which doesn't really work because now black makes a lovely tiger shape and takes the corner, and now black's unconditionally alive in that corner. There's nothing white can do. So the black stones are alive, and white has two groups. This group is not yet alive and this group's not yet alive, and fair enough, this black group is still vulnerable, so we've got to fight on between groups. White comes out, and in this game, black blocks. I've gone back and looked at this, and I think there's another sequence that's actually very powerful for black. If black does this, white has to come out, in which case black can still make this placement stone, because notice that if white blocks here, then black's plays here, and these two stones will die. They've only got 2 liberties, and the black stones have got 3 liberties. The 5 and 3 stone, the G, FG18. So that's not a viable sequence for after the placement. That's not a viable sequence for white. So if white plays the other side, black simply connects out on that side, and now white's just got another super weak group without eyes on the edge, and has got to run and is under severe attack from black. So that was one option. The other option for white is to come down like this, but then the same move kicks in. These moves, we learn these moves by doing Sumigo, using some site like Black to Play or Baduk Pop or GoProblems.com. All of these sites will teach you to do these kind of placement readings. And again, we have the same problem here. So if white blocks this way, black attaches that way, and then we do a liberty count. We see that black has got 1, 2, 3 liberties right here, and white has got 2. So white will die, black will be connected, and white's shape on that top side will be shattered. If on the other hand, after the placement, white connects this side, black can push once here, and if black blocks, white plays here Atari, black plays here Atari. If white connects, black jumps down and kills, and white's really got almost no option but to keep the stones together to connect here. And again, we can see that black is fully functioning, fully alive, and white's just got a very heavy group with no eyes and no eye shape. So all of those moves are very good for black. In the event in the game, I played this move, which wasn't a terrible move. It was threatening next to cut here, and it did strengthen my corner, because what I wanted to do was strengthen this area of the board, ready for an attack into here. But I could have done better than that. So white connected to protect the cutting point at F18 there. So black made a shape move. So the shape move was to develop from the corner, to stop white jumping into that corner area, because this white group now has got 1 eye, and could rapidly make another eye with a move like this, and white would be alive. And so I was prepared to concede that so long as I got something elsewhere. And so black invaded. So White now descended and blocked, and black made the Kosumi. I have to make the Kosumi because if black simply comes up, white sits on top. And now notice black has got 3 liberties, but this white group's got 4, and this white stone's on the outside. This is called hammering on the head of 2 stones, and black would die in that situation. There's very, 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 very little that black can do. White would attach here, cut 3, and now you can see that the black stones have only got 2 liberties on the inside, and white stones everywhere have got more. So that just doesn't work. We shouldn't jump in expecting a better result than that when we get hammered on the head. So the Kosumi was the move to play. White played on the outside. Black cuts on the outside using the strength of the table shape. White protects that stone from being Atari'd, so black Atari'd that side, white Atari'd, black connected, so black's got 3 liberties. White comes underneath, but black Atari's on the inside. White comes down, black takes on the outside. White extends its base, and black blocks, and white comes back and protects. Now, black throws in to make an Atari that threatens to take the 3 white stones here, and the Atari and the throw-in not only disrupts that shape but prevents white making an eye in that area, so white takes, and so now neither that position nor that position can become eyes. And then black extends, and black extending to make sure that inside white's area there's only 1 eye. White connects, black connects, white Ataris, but then black takes the other eye, and white takes. So the white group on the left hand side now have only got 1 eye, they're dead. All of those stones, so black's way ahead in the game. But because there was a potential there for a push out, I blocked, and then white came here. Black separated, white came out, and then black played safe. So I'm pretty much ahead in this game at the moment. White Atari'd the 1 stone, but it's not an important stone. The J16 stone isn't doing any work, and so it doesn't need any attention. It doesn't really need anything to. It's gone. It's a wasted stone. So white's wasted a move, which gave me a sente in the lower corner. I expected white to respond there, which white did, and so I then made shape on the right hand side. So in terms of points, black has got a huge left side. White's got some potential, but it's all down on the 3rd line on the lower side, and black's looking like the upper right corner, and the right side is going to be black. So this is a black game. This black is ahead on the board. So white invades, and so using the strength of the stone on N17, I block on this side. White comes out, Hane, Hane, second Hane, white Hane, black block, white connect, and now black must fix the shape with this move, with the knight move at R15. White makes a shape move so that white lives in the corner. Black attaches to widen the territory on the right hand side. Black harness, white draws back. Sorry, white harness, black draws back, and then white makes shape. And then I made this shape move. So this is a big territorial shape move on the right hand side, because I know I'm ahead in this game because of the death of the group on the left. And then white plays this move, which is actually unreasonable, and this is the final sequence of the game. So black connects, and so the black group is there. The white stone's now vulnerable to attack, so white threatens an Atari, but knows exactly what black will do. Although the black group on the right hand side, this little group here, now has an empty triangle right there at 3 and 4 liberties. So white makes a tiger mouth, and black simply comes out, enveloping in big style. And again, there's a lesson here for relative beginners, for double-digit Q players. Don't attack too close when you've got some strength. Black's got 2 not great shape. You know, there's an empty triangle here, that one there, there's an empty triangle here. My shape isn't great in either side here, but the weak stones, the white stones in between are weak. So white comes out and attaches. I don't want at all this white stone, the triangle stone, to be able to reach that stone or that stone. I need to keep them separated. So first I press back, white comes out, black presses, white blocks, black cuts. And the cut move is vital to keep these stones weak. And so black is now a lot stronger on this side, although it's still a little bit weak on this side. So white Ataris, and black comes out. And again, these two stones now come into play as kind of wide receivers or friendly catchers. So white starts to make some shape, tries to make an eye. The important move here for black is not to block here, although that block, sorry, that block does work fine. In the event black jumped out to make a bamboo joint, the bamboo joint here to keep all those stones connected and strong. White attached here, and this is attacking this black group here. That's now down to 3 liberties. They're here, 1, 2, 3, and bad shape in the empty triangle. So black adds liberty. So now black's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a very efficient way of adding liberties to that group. And also we start to build a relationship between this stone, and this stone, and white's starting to look invalid. So white comes out, and black blocks. And black can block here because when white turns, black turns and gets an Atari, which would connect all of the black stones on the outside here. And so white runs that way and black pushes one more time. After the push, white has to do something, because if white does nothing, if white tries to come out in anywhere else, say here, then the ladder kicks in. This ladder. And as we can see, this is going to end badly for white. So that ladder's there, and actually this shape is like a cradle shape. These 3 stones are in a cradle, and so this cradle shape means that these here, these are the other part of the cradle, means that white's under severe attack. So in the game, white harned so that this cut by black would no longer work. I mean, black could push from here, and it's still not great shape for white. But black's now super vulnerable here, because the next white placement at that point would kill the black stones and everything would go wrong. So black makes a net, and the net is closely related to this. Here we have the stones that make up the table shape that we saw way back over on this side. That's the same shape repeated again, and the net means that the white stone can't escape. So white tries to escape on this side, and this became the killing sequence in the game. So we're counting liberties here. So this white stone's got 3, but black here has got 1, 2, 3, 4. So black turns up, threatening to connect here an Atari. So white connects there to stop that. And then we have a move called a throw-in. So here comes the throw-in. So black throws in here, Ataring these 2 white stones. So white resists, and this now becomes what's known as a ghost head. And black Atari is again on the outside, and notice with that move, all of these stones are once again in Atari. So white connects, black harness, white harness inside, but these black stones have got 2 liberties, and now after that one, white's in Atari, and that's the end of the game. At that point, white resigns, because there is nothing else can do. All of these stones have died. Black's got the left side and a huge territory on the right side, and white's still barely alive and will get a few points on the lower side. So that was the game. So that's the end of the review. I just wanted to go through that because there were some very interesting sequences around the placement of stones, particularly if we jump back a few moves. The alternative sequences we explored around this, with white descending and then black coming up, and this placement stone, are just kind of worth considering and looking at and reading out and trying to get some of these moves active and alive in your games. Okay, that'll do. I wanted to keep this really short, so thanks for watching. I hope that gives you some useful ideas. It's aimed at double digit Q players, and I'll see you soon on 10 minutes to go. Thanks for that. Bye for now.